Welcome into the Unwritten Rule podcast, your number one stop shop for all sports and media news. I'm your host, Monzi, and today I will be deep diving into some more Oklahoma football content. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Football season is here. Next week, the Sooners play against Temple at home, so that's going to be our season opener at the Palace. That will be a nice packed out game. I will probably not be there. I just know it's going to be cranked up since it's at 6 o'clock. But I know the vibes and everything, the environment will be good. So hats off to anybody going to that game. A couple things that we need to look into in that game is obviously just probably looking at Jackson Arnold. I don't expect him to be this MVP coming out here game one. I'm pretty sure Seth Luttrell wants to let the guy let it rip early in the season before we have to play Tennessee, which may be the smart thing to do. Just go ahead and let him get comfortable with the offense and let him, start seeing the plays that he likes and, critiquing the plays that he doesn't do too well. Obviously, we're probably not going to see any runs out of him yet quite early in the season. Hopefully, we don't have to see him run too much. If he does have to run, I hope it's just, just to pick up the first down and get it over with. We don't need to see him racing down the field like Gabriel against Nebraska, I believe, when Gabriel ran like for 60 yards and scored. That was pretty cool, though, 2 years ago. So that's the biggest things with me. Also, I would like to see just how the O-line is looking. The running back room, not RB1, but I would like to see RB2. I guess it's Hicks or it could be Barnes. We'll see how that goes. I believe you have to play all three of those guys. I do believe that aside from the safety group, this is the best group that we have on the football team. So then I would like to look. I have to see the corners. I have to see the corners play something. I don't care if it's the first string, second string, third string. I'm watching the whole cornerback group. Man, I just can't deal with it this season. I just don't want to be in that. I just don't want to look at that this season. That's not the way we should be going. We should be trending forward. These guys should be developed. We have Woody. We have Gentry, who did face some injuries. We've talked about that before on previous episodes. But I don't think we should slow down. We have to have a group of guys, whether it's the starters or the second strings or the third strings at this point. We have to have somebody emerge as that talent for us. And it has to be this season. And hopefully it's one of the younger guys. So we'll look into that and we'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, one thing that you do have to look into is Kip Lewis going to be on the field. I think we seen towards the end of the season last season that obviously Kip Lewis is better than Kanik. And Kanik, no knocking Kanik, I just feel like Kanik was striving a more striker role, which is just rushing the quarterback almost every single play. I think that's what Kanik is good at. So if it came down to blitzing and just, running after whoever's in the backfield, I think Kanik is good at that. So if you want to put Kanik in the game for that type of stuff, I do like that. But if you want Kanik to read run gaps and all that stuff, I don't think that's the way you go. Obviously, Kobe McKenzie, he'll have a chance probably to get out there on the field. So we'll see how OU favors in this stuff. I don't expect anything less out of Stutzman. I think Stutzman will piggyback off of his the great season he had last season, and he's been improving ever since he got to Oklahoma. So I don't worry about him at all. I know that Stutzman he'll have his game. All right, so Stutzman will do what he has to do, and he's been holding down the linebacker group as best as he can. It's kind of hard to be a linebacker when you got a D-line like we got. Now, the D-line is my biggest concern, and I left them last because that is the largest concern for me. We will not be able to compete in any games if we don't have a pass rush, and I just want we could scratch everything that I've said previously in previous episodes. We could scratch that already out. If we do not have a pass rush, we will not win games. We will not compete in games, let alone. It will make it already tough for the linebackers. And then if the linebackers aren't able to make the play, we're asking our secondary to make the plays, which could be even more risky because that's the last line of defense once it gets to the safety. So we need a pass rush this season. We need quarterbacks to be getting caught up in dealing with what's in front of them instead of dealing with zone coverages or man coverages down the field, 15 to 20 yards down the field. No, we want the quarterback to be struggling right up front, right in front of your face. We're getting to you. So obviously, Venables has tried his best to get some people from the transfer portal. He's also tried his best to develop what he has. But Trace Ford, I'm not high on that guy. Bothroyd, I mean, he may come out and do something for us. I'm not knocking him. And then Ethan Downs, he's never shown me once that he's that guy that should be out there starting. I'm sorry. If you like Ethan Downs, you might want to watch some film. You might want to watch all of his tape in any game. The guy hasn't done anything. Now, against Texas last season, somehow, somewhere, he did get 2 sacks. I don't know how he did it, but we were whooping up early on Texas. That D-line, our D-line, was whooping up on Texas early in that game. So I commend the whole D-line group that game in Texas in the first half, for sure. But we can't win without a pass rush. And now moving on, OU has been making a lot of noise in headlines this month. August must be OU's month. You got Colin Cowherd, or however you say his name. You got him saying stuff from a long time ago. I guess it resurfaced. I don't worry about what Colin ever said. He thought Sam Darnold was going to be better than Baker Mayfield. That man doesn't know anything too much about football, and he wouldn't be too good of a GM if somebody let him be in that type of role anyway. So Colin, he's a guy, he's always just going to talk. I look at him like Skip Bayless. You listen to what he says for about 5 minutes, and then you kick him to the curb. I don't listen to him at all. So now when you have Paul Finebaum and ESPN giving you some good praise, OU starting to hit the headlines, and we're starting to get that target on our back, and teams are going to start respecting us more. Also, Greg McElroy, Josh Pate has said a lot of good things about us too. So hats off to them. Paul Finebaum, he thinks that OU is literally just one upset away from being in college football playoff contention, which is true. And I've told you guys that OU, the teams that OU has to beat is Missouri, and they have to be LSU. Now, I don't know how good LSU would be towards the end of the season. Hopefully they're in a predicament to where they're, maybe they're already in the college football playoff contention. So when we play them, we could get that, upset put on them. So that's a big thing for us. And it's a road game. And hey, I know it's tough to play in that environment at Death Valley, and it will always be tough to play in a lot of these SEC environments, but we have to get used to it now. We can't run from it. Teams think, Colin Cowherd thinks that Brent Venables isn't the right coach. I don't think that's the case. I think that Venables just had to change up his philosophy on things and learn his type of role as a head coach. Are you someone that needs to be calling plays, or are you somebody that needs to sit back and evaluate the whole team? Okay, are you that type of coach? It's different things, So I think that Brent he'll move past that, and he'll have a good season this year. Now, if it came down to wins and losses, like I said, I wouldn't grade this team based off of wins and losses. I would grade this team off of physicality, guys knowing where they got to go and establishing a team type of feel. So we need to establish that this season, and we'll build off of it going into next season. Obviously, I still think this team is good enough to be at the least, probably a top 16 team, even after the losses, if we did take some losses. I don't like us against Ole Miss. I just think that it'll be a weird type of game, but we could beat Ole Miss for sure. Now, if it ever came down to anything coming down to defense, I think that Oklahoma will win that game, luckily by the defense. I think that Venables will have something planned out. I think the only question going into that game for us against Ole Miss is how will the offense be, and how will Jackson Arnold favor it on the road. But luckily, before that, we have to go to Auburn on the road. So we'll see how Jackson Arnold favors in Auburn. Auburn is a tough crowd. So they're a tough crowd. The stadium's not too big, but hey, that's a tough crowd for anybody, for any team. So we'll see how Arnold favors out there and the rest of the offense too. We need guys, able to keep their composure in big moments. So also watch that early. Just take these guys, making sure they can be composed whenever the game's not flowing their way. I'm not gonna say that when we go out here against Temple, we're not gonna see a couple of struggles out of us, a couple, mishaps. Guys got to just calm down and move on from that. Hey, next play. That's just kind of the mentality we got to have. Next play, next drive, however it has to be. But we'll definitely see some wins for sure. Josh Pate has OU. He thinks that OU will have a way better SEC career, or however you want to put it, than Texas does, and that's correct. He put up the stats and showed all the stats, and he's letting everyone know that, guys, the team that's been good for the past decade is Oklahoma. Oklahoma has favored way more than Texas in anything. So Oklahoma is still that team. Oklahoma will always be that team. They're a blue blood. They're a blue blood. You don't question a blue blood. So as we move forward in the season, and these reporters, this media team, whoever it may be, ESPN, CBS, Fox, these people on three, can't forget about on three, but these people will start seeing what OU can actually do. But OU has to come out there and do that. So they can't really get caught up in the media, but we do have to go out there and play with physicality every single game. That's the only way that a lot of the teams that we go against will actually respect us. If they see some guys coming out there smash mouth football, we can't be sloppy lining up. We can't get away with stuff like that. It's a lot of things that this season, now that we're in the SEC, we're not going to be able to get away with. You're not going to be able to throw the ball 14 times to a receiver in a game. We're not going to be able to do the Stoops method last season. That's not going to work. Deion Burks may be better than Stoops, of course. In my opinion, I do believe that he'll be a better talent than Stoops is. He's more athletic. But Deion Burks is also going into the SEC. Coaches are going to find a way to stop when you're doing all this crazy stuff. So, after the fourth catch, that could be his last catch of the game, guys. Like, you guys really got to think about it like that. Some guys, you may not see a lot of receptions for these guys in our receiver group. So if we do have we have to use our entire receiver core. Actually, we have to use the entire receiver core, and we're also going to have to probably line up some of our twos. I got to see Jaquez Petaway on the field this season. I feel like that guy has a lot of potential. And I feel like this season we have to use him. Bauer Sharp, you got to use him. Got to. There's no reason you got a tight end that's that athletic with that size. Man, Bauer Sharp, you got to play him. Jaquez Petaway, Bauer Sharp, got to play those guys this season. You got to let them get that time early too. So that's another thing to look at also as we start early before Tennessee. You just want to handle business. That's the main thing. So we're all about handling business right now. Just going 1-0 every single week. That should be the main goal. And the team should be building off of what we have constructed from game one. Hell, what you constructed from spring all the way till now. All that hard work that you guys done put in, it will pay off in the end. You guys just got to go out there and always remember that you guys are a team. It doesn't matter what the fans think. It doesn't matter what the media thinks. It matters about what goes on in that building, in that locker room, whatever it may be. So it's all on you guys. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the podcast. I wish y'all nothing but the best. Football season is here, and that's all I'm thankful for. Peace.